Good morning. So it's me, Deanna, and today is December 4th. No, it's the 5th because Sunday's the 7th, so it's like 2 days away. So today's the 5th. Anyways, it's been a while since I've been on here because, man, life has been crazy. Like the last time I was on here, I had to do something with my car. I don't remember what it was, but get this, right? I hit this thing like a curb. It was a little curb. I mean, it was kind of a big curb. It was bigger than a normal curb. Anyways, I was parking and I didn't get far enough up, so then I backed up and then I went forward. And so I was going pretty slow. But then when I went forward, I hit the curb and I didn't think it was a big deal, but I just continued on with my day, went and did my stuff. And then I was like, let me go get an oil change. So I went to go get an oil change and found out that they couldn't fill my oil because there was a leak. Like the coolant was leaking out or whatever. So they tested it and they're like, yeah, there's a leak. You have to take it somewhere. I'm like, okay. So then I take it to this one place and they're like, you need a new radiator. It's going to be $2,100 and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. Now, I'm not somebody who just has I'm not a responsible person who has an emergency fund, even though you would think that the way that I live my life, I would. But then again, the way that I live my life, I wouldn't. So I, um, I was like, well, let me have the car towed to another place. So I have the car towed to another place. They tell me that it'll be $1,300 to change the radiator. And I'm like, okay, do it. So they go do it, and they realize that the bracket thingy that holds the radiator is broken as well, which means that now the car has to go to the body shop, and we are now looking at about $5,000 to $7,000 worth of repairs instead of 1,300. So what happened was when I hit the curb, I hit it in that sweet spot where out of all the places that you could have hit it, this was the one that you didn't want to. And I hit the curb, I guess, on a crack that was already in the radiator, which then bent the bracket that held the radiator in, which then cracked the radiator more and put a massive hole in it. And that was no bueno. I ended up having to rent a car because, the whole one car situation. So I rented a car, and that was the best experience ever. I went through this company called Turo, and it's like an Airbnb. Like, remember when Airbnb came out and you would stay at somebody's house instead of staying at a hotel or a motel or something? Well, Turo is like the same thing, except for you rent somebody's car. So the first couple of times that I've known about the company, I've been kind of hesitant to do it because I don't know, I feel more comfortable dealing with corporations than I do individual people for whatever reason. And I went ahead and I decided to get a car from Turo. I can't remember what kind of car it was. It was like a Hyundai something. And I went to go pick it up, and they send you the instructions on how to get into the car. In this particular situation, the car is parked in a parking lot at a shopping center. You go, and the key is on the back of the tire, like on the car, and that key is supposed to let you in. So I can't get in to the lockbox. No matter how many times I put the code in, I cannot get into this lockbox. So I send the guy a text message. He then calls me and says, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why. So I'm on FaceTime with him. And he's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this isn't working. Blah, 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 blah. So then he goes, wait, try this code. I'm like, okay. So he tells me the code. I put that code in, and it opens the key box. I'm like, why would he put the wrong code? So we hang up. He calls me back. Uh, after we hung up, we get into the car and we fall in love with this vehicle. I mean, it was beautiful. It was up to date on tech. It had all these cool features in it. And the guy calls me back and he says, "Hey, just so you know, I think that we may have given you the wrong car location." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, we have another car that we use for the same thing. It's the same uh, brand." And I was like, "Well, that does make sense because the car in the picture is red, but the car that I'm looking at right now is black. So that makes sense." He was like, "Yeah." So that one is a couple parking spots up from that one. And I was like, "Is it like this one?" And he said, "No, it's not as nice." And then I said, "It would be really cool if I could have this one because this is really nice." And he goes, "You know what? Because of the whole hassle thing, let me call the company and see if we can get your car switched out." And I'm like, "Oh, sweet." So he calls the company. The company calls me, and they're like, "Hey, so and so wants to know if it's okay if they switch out your vehicle." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." So what they did was the other vehicle was apparently $40 more to rent than this one. So Toro actually credited that for me for every day that I had the vehicle, and they put me in the more expensive vehicle. And when I tell you that that was like the best driving week of my life, I am not kidding. It was like a Hyundai Santa Fe. Do they make those? I think that's what it was. And it was like a 2022 or 24. I don't know. It was a new one. 25. It was new. And it was the best driving vehicle. It had all these cool features like lane assist when you're driving and you're about to veer into another lane. The steering wheel will pull over and pull it over for you so that you don't go into the next lane because it doesn't want you to hit another car. It has like all of these intuitive features that help prevent you from hitting things, and it had cameras all around 360 degrees around the vehicle so that you could have like a stitch together. I had to look it up because I thought a satellite was following me because it was so creepy that the car knew exactly what was around me all the time. And it turns out the car just has like 1,000 cameras, and it follows you around. It follows around the car. So the image that it puts together on the car, because when you go into reverse, your car shows up. It shows a sky view of your car, and it shows the car next to yours, and it shows the other car. It shows how close you are to them. It is the creepiest, coolest thing I've ever seen. So then it was time for me to give up the car because I am severely running out of money, and now I have to purchase a new car, which I'm kind of afraid to do because one, my previous vehicle was it was already paid off, so we didn't have a car payment. We didn't For us to not have a car payment and still not have any money. Can you imagine not having any money and then adding a car payment? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have to do that, but it was really, really mentally stressing. Like it messed my brain up to have to do this. Then we I ended up purchasing a car on Carvana. I don't know if you know anything about Carvana, but the way that it works is you go online, you tell them what kind of car you're looking for. They find the car that you're looking for. If you don't know what you want, then you put together a list of the stuff that you do want, and it finds a car for you that you do want and then puts it in your price range. Coolest system ever. So I put in all the stuff that I want. What I wanted was I wanted all the features from the new car that I just drove in the rental, but I know that I can't afford all those features. So I had to pick and choose which ones were my favorite, such as the lane assist. I love that feature because let's say you take your hands off the wheels for like 3 seconds, it doesn't matter because the car is driving for you. It actually makes me trust automated driving, like, when your car is driven, self-driving cars. It actually helped make me trust that process a little bit more because that car was way more intuitive than I was as a human, and it was preventing the car from doing all that stuff. So anyways, I decided that that was a feature that I just had to have. And of course, I have to have Apple CarPlay because that's how I do stuff. And I, anyways, so I find a vehicle. It is an Infiniti Q something 60. It looks good. I go get it. The guy's like, "Do you want to test drive?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to be driving it, and I have 7 days to return it. So, no, I don't want to do that. I'll just return it if I don't like it." He's like, "Okay." He's still on my street. Oh yeah, because I had it delivered. He's still on my street, and I drive out. I pull out, and I pull up to him, and I said, "What do I need to do to have this exchanged?" Because I knew in the first 30 seconds that I did not want that car. I just couldn't do it. It didn't have Apple CarPlay, and that was the actually biggest thing about it. But then I actually started driving it, and driving it, there was something wrong with it mechanically. It was making this crazy noise in the back. Only half of the driving features actually worked. Cruise control didn't work. I mean, like it was the whole car was a complete disaster, and it had nothing of one of the stuff that it said that it promised it had. So I called Carvana and I said, "I need a new car, a different car." They're like, "Oh, it's no problem. You can exchange. You're still within the 7 days. And so just go online, find a car that you want, and then call us." I'm like, "Okay." So I go online and I narrow down the cars that I want down to three. I call the guy, I call Carvana, and I get this guy on the phone. And he's like, "Well, what is going on with the car?" I tell him about all of the uh, features on the vehicle. Half of them didn't work. And I told him that there was this smell in the car, because there was this smell. It was like a smoker's vehicle, and I can't do smokers vehicles, and it smelled like they were trying to hide the smell with the good car smell, but it just wasn't working. And I told the guy on the phone that it made me feel like I was a poor person. And I was like, "I am a poor person, but I don't want to smell like a poor person. And that car smells like a poor person car." And I know that sounds bad, but I don't know what it is about cigarette smoke and poor people inherently being linked together, and which makes no sense, because it's really hard to smoke when you're poor because cigarettes are really expensive. So I don't know how that translates to that, but somehow it does. Maybe it's like a class thing. Maybe like people view like low class with like poor, and smoking is kind of like a low class thing to do. So like maybe that's like a poor people, whatever. I don't know. Only thing I know, it's a bunch of stereotypes, and I know it's not right to say it, but that's just how I feel. So yeah. Anyways, I take the car to, I decide that with my new car that I don't want them to deliver it. I actually want to go through the Carvana experience. The way the Carvana experience works is that you go online. You, I mean, not online. You go, well, you do go online and pick out the car you want, but then they have it brought to a vending machine. You know those giant vending machines that you see with the cars in them? So those actually work. They're actually vending machines. And I wanted to do that with my kids, but none of my kids were around. Only my son was. So I was like, "Come on, child, come with me to go get this car." And he really didn't have a choice because he had to go to a play. So I was like, "Let's go." We go to the Carvana place. We get in. You get this coin. It's like this big. You get one for souvenir, and you get one to put into the machine to get the car. So we put the machine in. We put the thing in with the machine. I don't know how to put the video on here because I actually took a video of it, so I don't know how to really do that. But I guess I will at some point. I don't know. Maybe I'll just post it right after this one. But it's kind of cool because you put the coin in, and then the platform raises up, and then it goes up, up, up. Our car was on the top, so it went all the way to the top, and then the platform moved over, picked up the car, and then brought it over to the middle, and then slowly brought it down. Once the car comes down, it spins around so you can check all sides of it, and then it moves it over to the place where you then drive it out. It was an extremely cool experience, and honestly, the way that the new car worked out with the payment was lower than the Infiniti. The overall price was lower than the Infiniti. and the features are better. Like the whole car is actually just better. I don't know what this is. It's like a oh, it's a Kia Sorento, maybe a 2022, I think. I'm not really sure. I usually just pick cars because they look good or they have the stuff that I want, or I don't know. I don't know. I don't care about a lot of stuff because it's not important. I mean, I guess it's important to some people, but it's not to me. So yeah, so there's my experience of the car. It took about 2 weeks in order to get everything done that I needed done, and it was very hellish because I'm doing all of that while again being the Uber, picking up and dropping off everybody in my family, and yeah, but yeah, a lot of stuff has happened since then. Now it's December. We have a car. We have a car payment. We have a rent payment. Oh, I got the keys to my new shop for Kid Cakes and Vinay. I don't know when we're going to open. I don't know how we're going to move stuff in. I just know that we have the space now. So now I can tell people that I have a shop again. Because I really hated not telling people that I had a shop and saying that I was at my house. I don't know why. It felt like a step back because it was kind of a step back, but it kind of wasn't. Because my previous landlords, they were like hella shady and really, really bad people. And I don't, what's it called? I don't know, I don't say anything about that experience or about them because I'm trying to do this whole thing where I just focus on the positive and move forward and move on from people who have done me wrong or dirty. So I don't know. I guess I just let sleeping dogs lie, which is another term that doesn't make sense because wouldn't you want to let everything that's sleeping lie? I mean, they're asleep. Why would you want to wake them up? Like if it's a dog or a person or anything. I've never understood that saying. Either way, I'm gonna let them lie. And that leads me to today, which is the day is not starting out the best. I have a part. I have a partner that I work with for my company, and I'm pretty positive she hates me. But I don't think she knows that she hates me. I think that she thinks that she loves me or likes me or whatever. And she may even like me as like a person. I mean, individually, but as for liking me in a business point of view, she always makes these cutting comments that are rude. Like yesterday, I ran out of cake mix, but I ran out of cake mix because a couple nights before, my daughter was making cakes for me, and she made the wrong flavor, but used the ingredients that I needed, so I didn't have enough. But what did my partner say? She said, "Yeah, like always." Okay, well, I say nothing to that because I'm on a bigger mission. I'm on a further mission. I'm not going to let the pettiness go. But I mean, I'm going to let the pettiness go. But my issue is that it's all the time. I mean, you would think that I was the biggest failure. I mean, it's like these comments like, "Oh, so we actually have na 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 na," or "Oh, so you did do that." And like I'm just standing there and just accepting these things and hearing these things because I know that as soon as I say something, she's gonna be like, "What? I don't understand." And all I was saying was, and she's always automatically defending herself. I can say, "Why are these in the refrigerator?" I'm asking why they're in the refrigerator because they're usually never in the refrigerator, And she'll be like, oh, I put them in there because, and then I'm like, oh, okay. And then she was like, oh, well, I did that because, and da 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 da. I was just answering your question. That's all I was doing. And I'm like, all I was doing was saying, okay. I don't understand how to have a conversation. And we've been working together for 2 years now. And the thing is that I don't want to not work with her because one, I think she's a genius. She partially knows that she is, and I mean when it comes to decorating, but she also has this extreme low self-worth, self-esteem thing about her, which is in my opinion what makes her say things that are mean to me all the time. And I don't know really how to handle that because I am inherently a nice person. I really do try to be a nice person. I try not to make snide remarks, and I'm a very, very anti passive aggressive. And she is very, very passive aggressive, and I don't know. Well, I decided that when I am able to afford it, or whenever my insurance covers it, we are going to get a therapist. I'm going to go to couples counseling with my business partner because I don't know how else to fix it. I feel like with the two of us, we could turn this company into something that people have never seen. I have a lot to learn from her. I have a lot of respect and admiration for the things that she does and who she is, and her loyalty is insane, which is crazy because she is somebody who will, if I had to call her and say, I need you to bring your vehicle, a shovel, and some trash bags, she's going to say, I'll be there in 15. And she lives like 30 minutes away. Like, that's the kind of loyal, that's the kind of friend she is. But then on the other side of that, when I leave the room with my other employee, one thing I hear is, and how do you trust that? How do you trust and have a relationship with somebody who hates you, loves you, respects you, and disrespects you all at the same time? She hasn't been able to work with anybody else because nobody else will, they don't just take it. She doesn't even realize that maybe she's the problem. Just maybe. I mean, one person she worked with physically hit her. And at first when I started working with her, I was like, what do you mean she hit you? Like, yeah, she slapped me like it's on camera. I'm like, what the fuck? What? So I didn't understand. But then by December of like last year, I understood. I really did. I mean, we actually ended up taking a pause from each other because I had to fire her, and it went against everything that I wanted and everything that I needed. But it was something that I had to do because she was awful. Like, she was absolutely. I mean, she was a bad person and then became a bad employee. You can be a bad person and still be my employee, but I can't have you be a bad person and a bad employee. But she started being like that, and I realized that a part of me drove her to that. I know what part I took in that whole thing, and I contacted her and sat her down and apologized for my portion of our falling out. And I told her that I really do think that we are stronger together, which I really do believe that, because if I need something done, it's going to get done, and it's going to be done extremely, extremely well. However, I also have to deal with a lot of stress and anxiety and angst. And so I'm hoping that getting a therapist is something that will help us um, in the long run. And if that works, then that would be fantastic because, like I said, what we're building is huge. And the only way to do that is to have somebody there who can do something that you can't do. And one thing that she can do is she can produce. And she is organized and she is on point. And I need that because I am not those things. And I know this about myself. So when you know something about yourself and you know what your weak points are, then you find people who fill in those weak points so that they can help make you stronger. That's my goal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find someone who can help us with her weak spots that she doesn't know that are weak spots because she's making the work environment very not happy, and I want to be happy. So right now I'm going to run into the house and hurry up and undo what my daughter did last night. She accidentally made a bunch of cupcakes that were the wrong, no, they were the right flavor, but she put them in the wrong containers, which smushes the packaging. And I know that when Oak Girl gets here this morning, it is going to be something that she talks about and says and does, and I just need to get ahead of it before that happens. So I gotta go because she's going to be here in like 10 minutes. So have a good day.